So now we are here on Google side, and what do you think is the impact partnership between Google and Silicon Valley?
I mean, we could talk about that for hours. Google really brought in the modern sense of Silicon Valley. And people forget that this Googleplex was created in 2003. That's right around the corner of the dot-com bubble burst. So everyone essentially thought that Silicon Valley was actually dead. All of the websites that created all of this hype were completely down under, and Google rose in the ashes. In fact, on this property is Silicon Graphics Inc. original headquarters, where the Google boys actually leased out those properties because, again, the companies around that time were all falling into disrepair, falling into bankruptcy. So in the ashes of the old Silicon Valley of the 90s, Google rose out. And if you think about what those companies really looked like, it was really boring. You know, it was grayscale, it was cubicles, it was shirts and ties. And the Google guys brought in shorts, flip-flops, skateboards, a slide to go around. Everyone thought these kids were going to go bankrupt in a few years. And lo and behold, you need those things to be even considered a tech company. You can't go inside of a tech company without seeing a foosball table and a beanbag chair and a refrigerator and all these amenities that are practically the essence of Google, what we think of. All of the benefits, the breakfast, the lunches, the dinners, you know, you open every refreshment center behind every door. All of these things are quintessentially Google. And that's not even beginning to talk about the benefits it provides for its employees. Google is a very intensive time to get inside. It's about 6 different interviews from the moment you get even called back to the moment you step in as an official Googler. So they take a lot of time and care into really catering and crafting who they let in, who they decide to be Googlers. And when that happens, they essentially take every precaution to making sure you are successful. If you're not really working well with their team, they try to find you a different one. If you are not really happy or content with being on the human properties or project side, they are offering you technical training in order to bring you on the technical side. So this is, like I said, now an essence on being a tech company. There is almost no company in Silicon Valley that haven't taken at least a few pages out of Google's books. So that's not even beginning to talk about the technological innovations. We're just talking about the cultural impact and what is considered necessity to be a tech company in Silicon Valley. As far as the technical terms, you know, the G Suite that we operate today, the sort of closed garden from Apple takes a page right out of Google's book, you know, creating not just a singular product, but a whole platform that complements each other. That really, you know, was paved through by Google. Google, most importantly, has this really amazing philosophy of doing something right correctly. There's other companies that don't really copy that, like Amazon really enjoys taking features of failing fast and failing quickly, which I believe they do very well. Amazon has this very popular story in Silicon Valley where they tried to break in the phone market and it failed spectacularly. $140 million burned to the ground, but they actually were able to come out with that with an amazing idea. That's where they got Alexa, one of their most successful products. Out of a huge failure, they still decided we're going to take something out of this and do something really productive. Google would prefer not to be first, but to be the best. So with the surge of AI, obviously, everyone was kind of wondering where Google's major statement was until Gemini came out. People also are not really, you know, sure what they would come out with when ChatGPT was really pushing forward and DeepSeek. And then now they're still being very careful to cater what they're really going to put a major foot forward with Gemini. It's funny with the AI talks is that Google were the people that created the technology that OpenAI used to create ChatGPT. The Transformer paper that was originally released from Google in 2017 was what Sam Altman used to base his LLM on. Google sometimes does this when they find a technology and they don't really find a real usable space for it. They publish it. They open source it. It's free for absolutely anyone to utilize, and they do that still to this day, and they do that many times. There's nothing special to Google, at least, about that Transformer paper. They decided they're going to release this out to the public, and if someone else can utilize it, fantastic. That's good for absolutely everybody. And again, this sort of this transparent nature is where else did you see that? was at Stanford University, where we just came from, which is where the Google guys originally got their start from. So I don't always like to credit Stanford with everything, but you can see the developing relationships that move through everything. You know, the Google guys got their start from Stanford, and they created the philosophy behind Google, and that later on impacted everyone else to kind of behave the same. So this kind of beneficial nature was even adopted by Elon Musk when he was creating Tesla. He open sourced all of his battery technology. Mercedes, BMW, Ford, Toyota, all of them surged forward with EVs, not just because Tesla was doing well, but because Tesla provided beneficial technologies completely free of charge. A rising tide raises all ships. And this was absolutely, I believe, in a major way, technologically speaking, pushed forward by Google.
It's amazing. Everything's connected.
Absolutely, I think.